Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, educates, and empowers you through life's transitions. And each week on this show, I bring on the coolest, most amazing, awesome CEOs, entrepreneurs, authors, experts, and truly life changers who have gone through their own reinventions in life and have come out on the other side successful. And they come on their show to share their stories with us. And today I am very excited about my guest. Her name is Jules Arnes, and she is an amazing woman with an amazing story and products that are going to change your life. Talk about falling into the fountain of youth and reversing the aging process and literally becoming younger. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Jules, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm so glad that you are here. The audience is just going to love the topic today. So before I talk about Jules and we get into her story and the interview, I want to start off by saying what our theme of the show is today, which is how to look young and healthy naturally. We're going to talk about using nature and science and energy and the things that are available to us to actually reverse the clock, actually get younger. And I've seen this personally, looking at Jules and hearing her story and knowing this, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on the show today. Okay. And then the intention statement, if you're writing this down, is I have today to look and feel young and healthy. So anchor that in this week. Really think about that. And don't forget, on Instagram, we have a tab there of wallpapers. So every week on this show, we create a brand new wallpaper for you to use as your backdrop on your phone so that you can just keep anchoring in that mantra and that intention statement so that it really becomes a part of you. So if you haven't seen them before, go to Diane Forster Official on Instagram and check them out, okay? All right, so Jules, let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Jules, the founder of Eternal Gold, has been practicing vibrational therapy for decades. With a vast background in multiple healing modalities, she truly knows how to identify the root of disease, allowing her to bring the frequency of youth and vitality into the cells through coded skincare. Reversing aging isn't combining the latest chemical cocktail. It is taking ancient elements and specific energetic frequencies to recode the cells to hold the intelligence of eternal youth and elevate beyond the program of aging. Taking anti-aging to the next level, Jules evolved the transformative applications of skincare limitations of cellular regeneration and elevate the biology to reverse aging. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Hey, Jules, welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So this is so fantastic. I can't wait to get into how this all came to be, what it actually is, and what we're going to do also in this amazing conversation is talk about this, but let's leave the audience with 3 key takeaways of what they can do to really start reversing the aging process and start really living in the fountain of youth. What do you say?
Absolutely. Okay, so my first one is to be aware of what you're saying when you look in the mirror. So when whether you're just looking, prepping, applying, every time you're picking out a flaw or a wrinkle, you're telling your cells to age. But the opposite is actually true. So every time we look in the mirror and we're saying my cells are rejuvenating and regenerating, we are telling those cells to do just that. So that would be tip number 1. And then number 2 is more of just bringing that into a life experience. And, for example, I had a woman on one of my workshops and she said, well, my financial planner said that I only have till 85. And I just laughed at her and I was like, so your belief system now is that you only can live to 85 because that's what your financial planner told you. Right. So it's recognizing those belief systems that we take on just unconsciously, and because that's what we're creating as our reality at that point. Yeah. And then my third one would be have fun, just because the energy of joy and fun is going back to just that New life, being that kid, everything is new. Oh, this is okay, I'm washing my dishes, but I'm washing them for the first time and fully embracing that experience as a joyful experience. It's really like going into the now.
Yes. So on board with everything that we are here at I have today. It's always mindset first. And again, those limiting beliefs, don't let anybody ever tell you who you are and what is. That's you're the one in the power. You're the one in control. You're the one who gets to decide. And I love bringing fun back into it because there are so many people out there definitely not having enough fun. And so great tips. All right. So talk about your story. How did you get into this and Eternal Gold? How was that created?
Okay, gosh, it's such a story, so I'm going to try and make it really short. So I've been a vibrational therapist since I was about 18, and I would say my superpower is I trace energy patterns. And about 5 years ago, my best friend passed away, and I just really opened up to a whole new level of what that meant. And so much so that I was able to spontaneously heal from a traumatic spine injury by connecting to the frequency that I use in my product. And over time, I was basically just given instructions and I followed the breadcrumbs little by little, and it brought me to the Ormus elements, to the gold, to sequencing scalar energy. And I actually ended up using it to heal people because I'm a healer. And I live in a community where a lot of people have broken bones and sore muscles. We're just really active community. So I decided that I was going to infuse the Ormus, the gold, and the scalar energy into a lotion that people could take home with them and continue to heal that way. So I decided I would send some of this lotion to my ex-husband. He has a really physical job, and just let him try it out. And he calls me about 2 weeks later. I was like, what is this stuff that you sent me? I look 10 years younger. And I just started laughing because I was like, you're not supposed to put it on your face. You're supposed to put it on your sore muscles. And he's like, you got to start a skincare line because everybody is noticing it. And so that's what I did. I was like, okay, what is the next step? Listen to my guidance. And sure enough, that was what I was supposed to do with it. It's the perfect delivery system for frequency, because with frequency, you want to energy sit to your system every 12 hours. And guess what we do every day, twice a day?
Wash our face in the morning and night.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, all right, there's so many things I want to say about this. Number one is pay attention to what Jules just said. If you're listening to this, she followed the guidance. We are always being guided to the next right thing that's right for us. And you're so in tune to this, which I love. And this is not woo-woo in any way. Everybody has this capacity, right? Everybody has this ability to do this. So you are just listening to your inner guidance and following, when you get that random thought, don't ignore it. Don't pretend that it's not there. Especially if you keep getting it, you keep getting those signs, pay attention to it. And so all of these little pieces came together for you and turned into this beautiful thing. So, and you said vibrational therapy. What is vibrational therapy for those out there who don't know?
Right. So yeah, I think vibrational therapy is kind of just a term that embraces different levels of energy healing. And for me, how I work with energy healing is I read patterns. So I'll move into your system and I read it a lot like tracing lines of a computer chip. And when I hit something that's of a lower frequency, I enter that part of the computer chip and actually read the frequency that's there. And so it's a little different and we think we all kind of have our superpower, but my superpower is definitely reading energy, so much so that when I was little, I had a learning disability and nobody knew that I wasn't reading until I was almost in third grade, because I was able to trace the energy pattern of my class in order to pretend I knew what I was talking about.
Wow. That's a great story. Wow. Okay. So, and yes, everybody does have superpowers. And you know what? If you're watching this, you can actually see the video. Great. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, kind of visualize that your body really is full of frequencies and codes. And so it's not just like this physical being, there's way more going on here. So you being able to tap into that is really, really powerful. And the higher we vibrate, the better we feel, right? The better we are. Okay. That's great. So you took your superpower that you probably didn't even realize was a superpower until way later in life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And had events occur that seem like, and are, traumatic, losing your friend, and that there's always a gift in something. You losing your friend 5 years ago turned into this creating of eternal gold. So you've got to seek the blessing and the gift in every situation, right?
Absolutely. And it's funny because when my friend found out that he had cancer on April 1st and he died May 1st, and I was his caretaker through hospice. And that whole time, he stopped being able to talk and all of that. But we began this communication that it was almost like we both knew that this was only the beginning of our relationship. And it truly was, so much so that when he passed away, the first thing he said to me was, "Don't be sad or you won't be able to hear me." And to this day, he still gives me guidance.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. We all have those. That's amazing. So see, his work is, you still have a relationship with him.
Absolutely. Spirit form.
So what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Oh, what a great question. I think the biggest challenge for me is that I'm not a business person. I'm a healer. And of course, I want to talk about raising in consciousness, how you're saying raising in frequency. That is my passion, is to evolve people to a place where we all hold the frequency where we can experience heaven on earth. And then there's this whole other side where if you have a product, it's a business. And that has been my biggest challenge, is lots of mistakes, so much so that I didn't trademark right away and I had to change the name of my company and just all of those things. But what is so great about that is that my divine gives me exactly what I need, and just brought in the perfect businessman that is going to take over that part of my company so that I can continue to focus on what I'm passionate about and what I'm really good at. And he's going to take over that whole part. So up until this point, it has definitely been a challenge.
Yes. Well, I love the way you just said that. Up until now, that those are such powerful words, and the divine does bring you what you need when you need it. You just got to be open to it, right? Have the right mindset, continue to have fun, stay in your zone of genius, don't worry about it, and it just comes in, it drops in. I'm having a guest on the show that does a lot of work around this. In fact, it's probably already aired by the time this show airs. And his name is Brian Ridgway. And he talks a lot about this too. And the same thing, his massive success not being a business person. And the same with me. I think when you're a creator, a visionary, an enlightened being, which we all are, but some of us are at just different levels than others, you want to be staying in that zone of genius, and we all have our superpowers, and it's best to do that. So to let somebody else, the right support, the right people, the right circumstances drop in just to handle that. And clearly you were open to it, right?
Oh, absolutely. As you were talking, the first thing that came to me, and this is a mantra that I always live by, is if your heart says yes, just say yes. Don't analyze it. Don't think about it. And if it's a no, it's just a no. And I really do feel like that's how, skincare is a very, very competitive market. And I really do believe that it's because I continue to say yes to my heart is why my company grew as fast as it did. And it's those series of yeses without even really knowing why you're saying yes. And then there comes a time when you're like, you look back, you're like, I have no idea how I got here, but this is magic. And that's when you know that you're saying yes to that divine flow.
Right. Well said. Because if you go into thought, your subconscious is going to do what it always does, which is talk you out of it and keep you small and safe and in fear. And the heart truly is the first mind. We've done a show on this. So when your heart, when it comes from there and you feel that pull and it feels good and it feels expansive and warm and whatever that feeling is in the heart, it's always a yes. It's always right.
I love that. And they actually are scientifically proving now that your heart has synapse responses just like your brain. So it truly is like the divine heart.
It is.
Or the divine mind, I should say.
It is a thinking mind. The heart is a thinking mind. So true. Great. Okay, so can we talk about the product and what it is, or products, I should say, and what it is and how it works?
Absolutely. So the baseline of the product is I use a element called Arnes. It's Arnes Gold, which stands for Orbited Rearranged Monoatomic Element. It's an element in a spin state, so it's because it's always spinning, it never is standing still and produces life force energy. It's being shown to repair DNA and activate the higher mind. So it actually supports the evolution of consciousness. And so then what I do is I put specific coded frequencies, and this has definitely evolved over time. I'm now sequencing to work right in the DNA and what I call turn off the aging code, because aging is actually just an epigenetic code that gets turned on because of our environment, our beliefs, what we're eating, all of those things that we talk about. And then I use nano gold for two reasons. One, it's amazing anti-aging additive, but it's also what I use as the receptor and conductor for the Arnes, so that it's always coming back to the exact same strand of DNA, repeating the sequence of frequencies.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that scientific explanation. It's so interesting. Gold, and like people would hear gold and they hear charcoal and they hear silver. You know, these are elements that our body needs. They sound like foreign elements. Like why would you put that on topically or ingest any of those? And yet they're so beneficial for us, aren't they? So this is wild. I love it. Yeah, because I was and actually still involved with a startup company in the skincare line, and it's using energy and charge as well. And it's interesting that I did some research, and 95% of the products out there have the same exact ingredients in them, and they're not beneficial. There's a lot of chemicals in there. And what else was I just going to say? That it's really beneficial to be using nature versus artificial means, right? So you go and get Botox, and I'm not judging anybody. This is just my belief, and I'd love your feedback on this. But when you go and you get fillers or Botox injections, that's just a temporary fix. That's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone. It's not going to help it, right? So you really have to use what's naturally available scientifically through technology, energy and nature to help reverse this, use what's beneficial, right?
Absolutely. And the mindset part, or the way that, so I call it, this is like kind of the next step of my company, is going to be called Ohm codes. And it's actually using very specific sequence of frequencies to work with the cells, but you're also doing it visually and audibly. So you're basically training the cell to hold the consciousness of what you're wanting to. And over a 45-day period, that cell will take on that consciousness and then start to divide in that state of consciousness. Because now they're also proving that the skin has a consciousness. So when I say every time you pick out a wrinkle, you really are telling that cell that's what you want it to do. You're feeding it the consciousness you want it to hold. So the sky is the limit. I really feel like we're in this place where humanity is becoming expansive and limitless, and what we're doing with our skin is just the beginning of what we're capable of.
Totally. I could not agree more. And, I have today, what I create is mantra meditations. And when I'm coaching clients privately, I create customized, personalized ones for them. Same thing. I tune into the frequency and I find all the blocks, all that stuff. And people are always telling me, how you're getting younger. How is this possible? And I said, because I tell myself that every day. And I'll have a free gift. We're gonna link people to you and how to get your amazing product at an awesome discount at the end of the show. So please stay till the end. But I'll also do a free gift too. But I created a mantra called My Ideal Body, and I listen to that every day. It's under 5 minutes, and it's a head to toe, inside out, and it is literally changing my body and so many other women's bodies, because I created it for women. Sorry guys, I'll do one for men. But it is focused on women. And it's amazing what the mind will do and the body will do and the skin. You're right. I don't think truly there's anything without consciousness anymore. I mean, truly everything is consciousness. So, and language, thoughts, words, feelings, emotions, all affect the consciousness of everything. So if you looked, I did an experiment years ago, and every time I walked past the mirror, I said, I'm gorgeous. I'm gorgeous. That was the word I used. I decided to do that. And about 2 weeks into the experiment, I went to an event and had 200 people at this event, and I knew probably half the people. And every person came up to me and said, what are you doing? You're gorgeous. They all used that word. And I burst out laughing. So all of this is tied together. I love this. I love the synergy in what you're doing and what we're doing and what we're collectively doing in the world, which is why we're standing together doing this. So it's just amazing. It's really fantastic. So how do you live? I ask everybody this question, Jules. How do you live the I have today way, which is intentionally in the present moment?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for asking. I think that this is just something that I've done. I've been on this path for 27 years, and I wouldn't say I've mastered it, but very close to mastering living in the now. So much so that sometimes it's hard for me to create in the future because I am so in the now, and that's when really the divine flows through me in order to create the outcome for my future. So I think it's a practice. It's something that I've practiced for probably about 15 years now, and it's a choice is really what it comes down to. It's having awareness and then choosing over and over to experience in the now, and then really allow that guidance to come through in the now as well. It's funny because I feel like there's different levels of awakening. There's that part where you're first waking up and you're like, oh, I actually have a choice and I'm not the victim of my life. And then you have the next step is, oh, I'm going to create everything I want. I'm the master of my life. I'm creating. And then of course you start to raise in frequency and you have to clear all the belief systems. And then we move into listen and do. And we listen to our divine and we're listening and we're doing. And this is the part that I'm moving into now is you're listening and doing so much in the moment that you don't even know that it's not your mind you're creating from. So I would say I fluctuate between those last two ways of being.
Yes. Wow. That's might sound a little woo-woo to people out there, but that's really powerful. And it's, yeah, when you're not even conscious, it's not conscious, which we know is such a small percentage anyway, but you're so in the flow. It's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I ask you an honest question? I've
Absolutely.
never done this, but do you ever lose track of like, what day is it? What's the date? How old am I? Like really absolutely separate from that? Yeah, me too. I live in
All the time.
I live in that state all the time too.
My kids always, this is their saying to me, we don't know how you are successful. We have no idea how you raised us so well. Because it's like,
Yes, I know. Well, I embrace it and applaud you, and I'm happy to be in the same tribe as you. I love it. All right, well, is there one final tip that you want to share with the audience before we tell them how to get Eternal Gold?
Oh, gosh. Okay, this is the one that's coming to me, is really connect to yourself when you're doing your daily routine. Take just a few minutes to look yourself in the eyes, connect to your heart. I'm just so surprised how many people they'll just throw their stuff on and they never actually look at themselves, like look in their soul. And that's such a healing and powerful thing when we can look at ourselves in the mirror and actually say, I'm gorgeous, or I am beautiful, I love myself. And it's a great way to raise your frequency, and raising frequency raises states of consciousness, which is the first step to actually reprogramming your cells to reverse aging.
Yes, beautifully said. And to be living a happier, more fulfilling life.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So how can we find out about ordering Eternal Gold? Because I know I am, and I know you have a special offer for our audience.
Yes, thanks for asking. So you'll go to eternalgoldbeauty.com. So it's eternalgoldbeauty.com, and you'll enter the code. Let's see. I have today for 40% off your first order.
Wow. eternalgoldbeauty.com, and the code is I have today.
All lowercase.
All lowercase. And you're going to get 40% off your first order. That's amazing. Thank you for being so generous. And
absolutely.
I highly encourage you to order some today. If you're driving and listening to this, don't forget eternalgoldbeauty.com, code I have today. And thank you so much for being here, Jules.
Thank you.
Amazing work that you're doing. I love it. I can't wait to sample the product. And if I can support you in any way here at I Have Today, we're more than happy to do it. We love people like you and what you're doing. You're living out your vision and your mission. Amazing. So, all right, for us, what I want to offer you is My Ideal Body, the mantra meditation. That's free, and that's available at dianeforster.com, dianeforster.com, My Ideal Body. So use the products and use the mindset to really start reversing the aging, becoming younger, living in the fountain of youth, healthy and well, and don't forget to be having fun. All right, that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.